Welcome here to our cold, rainy Palo Alto, California. I am Andrew Fury, glad to be bringing you this KMVT broadcast. It's the 8th seed Archbishop Mitty Monarchs at the Palo Alto and the number 1 seed Palo Alto Vikings. Winner gets the winner of Bellarmine and Oak Grove in the second round of CCS playoffs. And a reminder now that this game is being brought to you by KMVT's All Sports presenting sponsor, Home Instead. Learn how Home Instead Senior Care can provide the personalized in-home care your loved one needs. Home Instead, to them, it's personal.
Ever since Dad died, taking care of Mom is overwhelming. I can't do it on my own.
Sure, my mother needs me, but I just want to be a daughter again.
Mom wants to stay in her home, but needs more help than ever. It just can't be me all the time.
Struggling to care for an aging parent? You're not alone. Learn how Home Instead Senior Care can provide the personalized in-home care your loved one needs. Home Instead. To us, it's personal.
Welcome back here to our rainy Palo Alto, California. At the number 1 seed Palo Alto Vikings hosting the 8th seed Archbishop Mitty Monarchs. Mitty won the toss and they have elected to receive. So Archbishop Mitty will be receiving here to begin our ball game. As Christoph Bono has the ball teed up, and we are underway in round 1 of the CCS playoffs. It comes down and being bobbled at the 3 by Rocky Mazzaros. Mazzaros up to the 5 and across out to the 15-yard line. Good special teams by Palo that time as they brought him down after only a 10-yard return. And as we see here on the replay, Mazzaros had trouble with the kickoff. He bobbled it, and then when Rocky Mazzaros got back to the football, he had nowhere to run. Great coverage that time by the Palo Alto special teamers. Officially a 12-yard return. They place the ball at the 19-yard line, 1st and 10. Kyle Bohm starts at quarterback for Mitty, and he gives it to the fullback Mazzaros up the middle, and he only gets out to the 17-yard line, gain of 2. That will bring up 2nd and 8. And here on the replay, Boehm faked it to Mazzaros and kept it going around left end, but a well defense that time as Matthew Cullen led the charge in making the tackle. 2nd and 8 here for Mitty, first drive of the game. Winner takes on either Bellarmine or Oak Grove in the second round of the CCS playoffs. Boehm audibles to his running back Mazzaros, 2 wide receivers to each side. And over center is Bohm. The motion, 1 man in motion, and they give it to the fullback Mazzaros up the middle. And he only gets out to the 20-yard line, gain of 3.
That's number 3, Joe DeChico.
And so DeChico with the carry and a gain of 3 on the play. It will bring up 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5, first third down opportunity of this game for Mitty. Palo trying to get a 3 and out to begin the CCS playoffs. Let's see if Mitty decides to go to the air here on 3rd and 5 from the 20. Again, Mazzaros in the backfield, 2 wide receivers to each side. Bohm over center, and he quick drops, pass is low and incomplete. He was intended for Cale McClanahan, who started in the slot to the right side, and it was a quick slant, but the pass was low and away and incomplete. Here on the replay, just not even much of a drop from Bohm that time. He threw it, and it landed incomplete. So a quick 3 and out for Palo's defense, and it's 4th and 5 from the 20. Into punt is Greg Ruiz for Mitty, standing back at his 10-yard line to receive the snap. Ruiz receives the snap, and his left-footed kick is high, pretty good one, fielded by Adams at the 39. Brings it up to the left side, across the 40, cuts up, midfield, oh, there's a whole 40, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Palo Alto. Devontae Adams with a 66-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And that makes it 6-0 Palo Alto. Here on the replay, he had to go back a little ways to receive the snap, to the punt rather, and then started right, juked it, and came back left, and there was a big hole down the seam and got great blocking, and that sprung him for the 66-yard penalty for return. But however, there was a penalty thrown. Did not see the flag initially, and it was called for a illegal block in the back on Palo Alto. So instead of a touchdown for Pali, it's being brought back deep in their own territory. That could be a critical mistake. They placed the ball 10 yards back from the spot of the foul, so they're still marking the ball. Let's see where they did put it. And now they appear to have it set. Set at the 24-yard line of Palo Alto. 1st and 10. Now the official puts it down.
Viking 29, they will take over.
Or actually, that's the 29-yard line. So 1st and 10. Bono over center. And he gets the snap, gives it to B.J. Boyd trying the right side, and he gets tripped up and dropped right at the 31-yard line. Only a 2-yard gain for B.J. Boyd. You will see a pair of running backs in the game. They list Dre Hill as a fullback, but he's more of a running back. Here, they started with split backs, and they ran the counter coming right to B.J. Boyd, as Hill also lined up next to him. But it only went for a 2-yard gain. Mitty's defense was up to the test that time, and it will bring up 2nd and 8 for Palo Alto. From their own 31-yard line. Again, split backs in the backfield. One wide receiver to each side. Bono over center. Adams is split out wide left. And a 3-step drop from Bono. Quick slant. Caught Devontae Adams, and he's immediately grabbed and dropped. But that's close, and it will be a 1st down. That's Devontae Adams with a catch, a gain of 10, and a 1st down for Adams. Here on the replay, this time Pali went to the quick slant, and it was a perfect spiral thrown from Christoph Bono. Immediately grabbed and tackled by Gregory Ruiz as Adams made the catch, but it's good for 9 and a 1st down. So Palo Alto has the first down of this game, and Bono comes to the line with an I formation in the backfield this time. One wide receiver to each side, and they give it to Boyd coming left. B.J. Boyd breaks a tackle and gets out right to the 42-yard line. Only a gain of 2 for B.J. Boyd, and it will bring up a 2nd and 8 once again. That's now 2 carries for 4 yards for Boyd, and Bono went with a little hard count there, trying to draw Mitty off sides. And then as he went around the left end, just not much there. Great pursuit to the football that time from Archbishop Mitty. Here's 2nd and 8 for Palo Alto from their own 42-yard line. Again, one wide receiver to each side. This time split backs in the backfield. Now they motion Dre Hill out as a 3rd wide receiver wide right. And a 5-step drop from Bono. Under pressure, rolls left. He wants to run. Has a hole, 45, 50, and gets a 1st down all the way out to the 42-yard line. That's a gain of 18 yards for Christoph Bono. And Bono made the decision really early to run with that football. As we see here on the replay, Bono a 3-step drop. And then as he immediately decided to tuck it and run down the left sideline, officially they mark him back at the 45 of the Monarchs. That goes for a gain of 13. Bono over center. One wide receiver to each side. One back in the backfield. This time Dre Hill gets the carry. And he bulls over one man and gets down to the 42-yard line. Gain of 3. It will bring up 2nd and 7 for Palo Alto. Pali is coached by Earl Hansen, head man in charge for the Vikings. And Bono, before almost every play, will go over and have a word with his coach, Earl Hansen, for the play call, as he did right after that play. Here's 2nd and 7 at the Monarchs 42. First drive of the game for the Vikings after they stop the Monarchs on a 3-and-out. One wide receiver, split out wide right. Split backs in the backfield. They give it to Boyd this time on a counter play coming to the left. Breaks one tackle, breaks another. Still fighting for yards and gets run out of bounds at the 38. So that's a gain of 4. It will bring up 3rd and 3. And Eddie Mashemu made the tackle out of bounds. Here on the replay, it initially looked like it was going to be a loss on the play as Boyd got another carry coming left. but he was able to break a couple tackles right there and still was breaking tackles all the way down to the 38-yard line.
It'll bring up a 3rd and 3 for the Vikings.
So a 3rd and 3 for the Vikings. They are 1 for 1 on 3rd down so far. This is the first drive of the game for Palo Alto. CCS first round action. Winner moves on to the 2nd round of the CCS sectional playoffs. Here's 3rd and 3 for the Vikings from the Monarch 38. One wide receiver to each side. I-formation in the backfield. And back to passes. Bono under pressure and gets hit and sacked. Back at the 46-yard line of the Monarchs. That's a loss of 8 as Eddie Mashemu on the linebacker blitz came through and sacked him. There's the replay, and on that play, as it initially looked like BJ Boyd got away with a false start. It was not called, didn't hurt the Monarchs at all as Eddie Mashemu was unblocked coming through. That's either one of the backs' responsibilities to pick up that linebacker on that blitz, but that did not happen that time. Here's 4th and 10 from the 45. Christoph Bono in a punt, high snap. Bono brings it down, and his right-footed kick is low. Wobbler that bounces inside the 20-yard line, and it will be down at the 18. So that is a 27-yard punt, nothing on the return, and the Monarchs will go on offense trying to improve off their 3-and-out their first time. As we look at the brackets now of the CCS Open Division, 6 seed Sierra takes Valley Christian in the top half of the bracket, but down here at the bottom half of the bracket is where we are. 8 seed Mitty playing the top seed Palo Alto Vikings. The winner of this game gets the winner of 5th seed Bellarmine against the 4th seed Oak Grove. And if Palo Alto wins this game, they'll be hosting that game. If Mitty wins this game, then Mitty will either travel to Bellarmine or Oak Grove, and it will be an away game for them. Here's 1st and 10 for the 18, and the give is to Mazzaros again. Rocky Mazzaros off the right side for Mitty, and he only gets out to the 20-yard line, gain of 2. So Mitty went 3-and-out their first time, and now Kyle Bohm, who's been recruited to play at UC Berkeley for Jeff Tedford over there, a 6'3", 220-pound senior is the quarterback here, who his progression over the course of this season has been phenomenal. Maybe the most improved quarterback in this CCS playoffs. And his team has improved because of him, or mainly because of him. Here's 2nd and 8 at the 20. Bohm gives it to the fullback this time, straight up the middle for not much, only a gain of 3. That is Joe DeChico, the fullback with the carry. And he only gets out to the 22, maybe the 23-yard line. Gain of 3, it will bring up 3rd and 5. So 3rd and 5 for Mitty. They are 0 for 1 on 3rd down so far. Mitty comes to the line, set Tim Biondic out wide right as the lone wide receiver out right. They send trips out left. Bohm is 0 for 1 through the air so far. A 3-step drop, throws quickly, and it goes through the hands of his receiver over there. It's Cale McClanahan, the intended target. McClanahan with the intended target, and that pass should have been caught. It would have been a 1st down had he caught it. And as that pass just went off the hands and fingertips of Cale McClanahan, and if that is caught, it's a 1st down for Mitty and extends the drive. But instead it results in a Mitty punt, or that's what it looks like at least, as Ruiz is in to punt again for Archbishop Mitty. On 4th and 5 from their own 23. Ruiz has had 1 punt so far. And Devontae Adams is way back deep. Here's Ruiz's left-footed kick high, and this is a great kick, fielded by Maurice Williams, who buffs the ball, but he recovers it. Maurice Williams that time got a chance to return it, and it went right through his hands, but he's lucky to recover that punt at the 37-yard line. That's where Palo Alto will take over. Here's the replay. Williams hardly had to move, just back a couple steps, and the problem tonight for most of the ball carriers will be ball handling, as the refs are doing all they can to keep the ball dry as much as they can, but as the rain continues to fall here in Palo Alto, the ball handling will be at a premium here tonight. So after that will officially go as a 3-yard return for Williams. It's 1st and 10 at their own 37. And over center is Bono. Now Williams goes in motion to the left, and they toss it coming right to B.J. Boyd. Boyd trying to find his blocker, does, accelerates through the hole across the 40 and gets out to the 44-yard line. That's a gain of 7 for B.J. Boyd, by far his best run of the game. And here's the replay as they tried a little different action this time with B.J. Boyd, the running back, as Bono tossed it to Boyd coming right, and Boyd initially had nothing, but just did a nice job waiting for his blockers to develop, and then accelerated through that hole and picked up a nice gain of 7 on first down. Now it's second and short, 2nd and 3, as one wide receiver goes to each side for Palo Alto. And Bono over center, split backs in the backfield. Adams is the lone wide receiver, split out wide left. Bono takes the snap, 3-step drop, under pressure, and he fumbles the ball! He fumbles the ball, it's recovered by Mitty! And Mitty has the first turnover forced of the game.
Number 22, Michael Borey on the recovery.
Michael Boren made the recovery for Mitty. And here's on the replay, Bono 3-step drop, just never saw the pressure. And as he decided to throw or start to throw, he was hit and the ball came out. And so Mitty gets the benefit of the first turnover of the game. And it's 1st and 10. Maybe this can wake up the Mitty offense, who are major underdogs in this game, but have excellent field position here. They give it to Mazzaros up the left side, or rather that was Cale McClanahan with the carry. And he gets down to the 35, gain of 2. It will bring up the 2nd and 8 for Mitty. Again, what they've been doing so far is not working. Bohm, their quarterback, is 0 for 2. And their running plays, their longest run of the game so far has been just 3 yards. Pally front has been very excellent so far. Here's 2nd and 8 from the Pally 35. Bohm over center. He'll drop the pass. Throws deep down the right sideline as a man, and he overthrew it. That's intended for Brandon White deep along the right sideline. He had beaten his man as Maurice Williams had the coverage. White had beaten his man, and if he catches that ball, it's a touchdown for Mitty. But instead, the pass led him a little too far, and it goes incomplete. So now, another 3rd down, a down that has really plagued Archbishop Mitty so far today, or tonight, I should say. This is by far the toughest 3rd down they've had to face so far. Mitty's 0 for 2 on 3rd downs. 3rd and 8 from the 35. I formation in the backfield, and they give it up the gut to Mazzaros this time, and he gets down to the 32-yard line. Just a gain of 3 will bring up 4th down. What will they decide to do now? They are sending on the punting unit. That's a little bit of a questionable call. I would understand that call if they were planning to go for it on 4th down, which I initially thought, because they had decided to run the ball for only a gain of 3 on that play. But now they're bringing out the punting unit, so I think a very questionable call on 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 that time. But they're sending out Greg Ruiz to already punt for his 3rd time. This time, Maurice Williams is alone as the return man, and Adams has moved up as one of the cornerbacks, you can say, on this special teams unit. Ruiz trying to pin them deep, high angling punt, and it will be down at the 1. What a punt by Greg Ruiz. It is down at the 1. Here's the replay of that magnificent punt by Ruiz. Williams never even tried, as it was well over his head. And then it was officially downed by Brandon White, but a great play over there by J.D. Correa, saving the ball into Brandon White. So White could down it at the 2 officially. That is a 30-yard punt, nothing on the return, but very nicely done for Ruiz. So now a very long field for Christoph Bono and this Palo Alto offense. 1st and 10 at their own 2. One wide receiver to the split out wide right, and now we have whistles and a timeout called by Archbishop Mitty. That's their first used in this half, so they have 2 remaining for this half. And now we would like to remind you that this game is being brought to you by KMVT's All Sports presenting sponsor, Home Instead. Learn how Home Instead Senior Care can provide the personalized in-home care your loved one needs. Home Instead, to them it's personal. So with this timeout, it's a short 30-second turn, so we'll keep it here. 0-0 the score in this round 1 game of the CCS playoffs. 2:21 to go first quarter, a very fast-paced first quarter. This first quarter has flied by here in Palo Alto. Winner gets to take on either Bellarmine or Oak Grove in the second round of the CCS playoffs. Palo Alto went an undefeated season this year during the regular season at 10-0. Archbishop Mitty coming in at 6-3-1. They've tied 1, lost 3, and have won 6. 8 seed against the 1 seed. 1st and 10 from their own 2. Bono over center gives it to BJ Boyd, who breaks a tackle, still fighting for yards, and he gets not much actually. He was fighting, doing all that hard work. And that was Dre Hill on the carry instead of Boyd, but he didn't pick up much. Only a gain of 2. Here's the replay. As Dre Hill took the carry, and he was struggling for yards. Great pursuit to the ball that time by Archbishop Mitty. And he was driven backwards, but the forward progress will be spotted at the 6. That is 2nd and 6 now from the 6. Bono over center. One wide receiver split out wide right. And they toss it coming left to Dre Hill, who breaks him 1 tackle, but then he's being pursued and driven back into the end zone.
Hill on the sweep,
and
back for a loss
but
near the goal line.
It's not going to be a safety as they'll mark forward progress stopped inside the 1. But great defense from Mitty here as now they tried to work the toss sweep to Dre Hill this time. Great pursuit to the ball, though, by a group of Mitty players led by Brandon White. But also Joe DeChico also on the stop along with Brandon White for the stop. That is officially a loss of 4. They mark it at the 2-yard line. Great defense that time for Mitty. 3rd and 10 for Palo Alto. They are 0 for 1 on 3rd down so far. And the play action fake looks like a mix-up, and the pass in the left flat is caught by B.J. Boyd. But Boyd gets driven out of bounds at the 5-yard line. So only a gain of 3, and Mitty figures to get good field position after this punt. Here's the replay, and it looked like play action pass. That was what Bono wanted to do, but Hill didn't really sell it that well. And so it looked like a mix-up on the play call. And now we have a punting situation for Palo Alto. Christoph Bono to do the punt, but if this goes to, according to plan for Mitty, they should get excellent field position. Bono waiting at the back end of his end zone to receive the snap. Here's the snap, and the right-footed kick is high, end over end, fielded by Mazzaros. No, it's not. Now he picks it up at the 49. Comes left, across midfield, and gets run out of bounds at the 47 of Palo Alto. So that's a 4-yard return on a 49-yard punt. Here's the replay. Mazzaros was in between on whether to field it on the fly or on the bounce, and he let it bounce. And when he did, he was being pursued by a whole host of Palo Alto special teamers. And Palo Alto did well to eliminate that to only a 4-yard return. But still, excellent field position for Archbishop Mitty. And that is the end of the first quarter. We'll step aside. 0-0 the score between Palo Alto and Archbishop Mitty. Welcome back here to Palo Alto. First round of the CCS playoffs. We had a scoreless first quarter, now into the second quarter. And Mitty takes over 1st and 10 at the 47. Give it to Mazzaros on the inside handoff, and he gets only down to the 45 of Palo Alto. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Second quarter is underway here. A scoreless first quarter between the top-seeded Palo Alto Vikings and the 8th-seeded Archbishop Mitty Monarchs. Monarchs got the ball to begin the game, but they had 2 3-and-outs. Actually, I've had 3 3-and-outs, but one time got off a turnover and had excellent field position. Now they're trying to get their first down of the game and have 2nd and 8 at the 45 of Palo Alto. Bohm goes over center. Now they set up with 3 backs in the backfield and 1 wide receiver who split out wide right. And they give it in the inside handoff to DeChico as they fake the toss to Mazzaros, but excellent defense inside by Pally. Will Glazier
Off tackle.
led the way with the stop. Glazier on the tackle. And it's going to bring up another third down for the Monarchs. That's again only a gain of 2. It will bring up 3rd and 6.
Third down and about 6.
So let's see if the Monarchs can actually call or convert on a third down. It's 3rd and 6 at the 43 of Palo Alto. They need the 37 for a first down. And Bone back to pass. Halftime, now running out of it. He'll run, he'll cut left, he'll cut inside. He'll get tackled as he crosses the 40 down to the 39. But again, that's short of the first down. He is 2 yards short. And here's a replay as Bone went back to pass. At time, he just didn't feel like he was going to be able to find anyone open, so he tucked it and ran with it. Got a gain of 4, but that's not enough for a first down. So now Mitty's 0 for 4 on third downs. It's 4th and 2 at the 39, and it looks like Ruiz is going to punt again. I think the longer this game goes scoreless, without any points on the board, it has to favor the Monarchs. Team that's punting right now. Because they like a grinded out game, as Pally wants to pass and have a balanced attack to score a lot of points. Devontae Adams back to receive this punt out. It's a low snap, very bad snap, but Ruiz does a nice job to punt it inside the 5, and he downs it at the 4.
Again inside the 5-yard line.
That is J.D. Correa with the special teams play and downing it at the 4. So another very fine punt from Ruiz. That is a 35-yard punt, nothing on the return, and for the 2nd consecutive possession, Palo Alto starts deep in their own territory. Here's the replay. Another high-angled punt from Ruiz, and he's got that one down to perfection. Twice he's pinned Pally inside their own 5-yard line. Here's 1st and 10 at their own 4. 2 wide receivers both split out wide left. Split backs in the backfield. And they give it to Dre Hale coming left, has the hole, cuts the seam across the 10, and dives out to the 13. A gain of 9 for Dre Hale. So Hale on the carry and does a very nice job around left end. Here's the replay, as this time they ran the misdirection play with Hill, and he didn't well just to elude his own goal line and not being avoided. He avoided being tackled in the end zone that time for a safety, and got about 8. We'll call it 2nd and 2 at the 12. Good run that time from Dre Hill. 1 wide receiver to each side, and they will give it this time to B.J. Boyd as they fake the bootleg, but that doesn't do very well. It just loses yardage, in fact. Boyd tried left side that time, and he got driven backwards. And let's see where they mark the ball. They'll mark it for no gain. 3rd and 2 at the 12. So no gain. Just got back to the 12. Some substitutions now for Pally. It looks like they're bringing in their jumbo package for this 3rd and short yardage situation. They are 0 for 2 on 3rd down so far, are the Vikings. This is 3rd and 2 at their own 12. Bono over center, 1 wide receiver to each side. In motion goes Williams, and back to passes. Bono's pass deflected and intercepted. Over there, down the left sideline, Bono's picked off, and the 2nd turnover of the game for the Vikings. That pass was intended for Maurice Williams, and Bono just a quick draw, never saw the defender. He stepped back and threw the pass that was deflected and intercepted. I didn't catch who intercepted the ball, but it was deflected by Brandon White. So now, excellent scoring opportunity for Mitty. 1st and 10 at the 15 of Palo Alto. Fresh off their 2nd turnover. And Mazaris goes in motion. They give it to the fullback instead, DeSico. And DeSico gets down to the 12, a gain of 3.
Joe DeChenko, stopped by 75.
DeCicco the carry, and it's a gain of 3. Will bring up 2nd and 7 for Mitty. They can get a first down at the 5-yard line. So Pally not playing the way they did for the majority of the regular season. Already 2 turnovers. They hardly turned the ball over during that regular season. Already turned in the first half. 7:10 and counting to go in the first half. Second quarter, no score. It is Bohm over center this time on 2nd and 7 from the Pally 12. Mazzaros again in motion. And they give it this time to, no, he tapped it, and Bohm gets driven backwards. Bohm gets driven backwards back to the 16-yard line. Loss of 4, and it will bring up 3rd and 10. Bohm initially thought gave it to Mazzaros, but instead kept it and got driven backwards to the 17-yard line. A loss of 5. And it's going to be 3rd and 11. No, officially 3rd and 10 for Mitty. Both wide receivers split out wide left. Back to pass, and Bohm under pressure, and he goes down. He is sacked back at the 25-yard line. Bohm is sacked. As here's a replay, a loss of 8 on the play. Bohm went back to pass, and he was immediately pressured. Nathan Hubbard got the sack, and it will bring up 4th down and 19. Let's see what Mitty decides to do. Let's see. Bohm is staying in there. Looks like they are going to go for it here on 4th and 18. No, we'll call it 4th and 17. 4th and 19. And now we have whistles and timeout called by Archbishop Mitty. So Mitty calls a timeout with 5:32 to go in the second quarter. It's 0-0.
For high-quality photos from the CID section regional and state playoffs, go to www.
Back here in Palo Alto, 5:32 to go, second quarter. And it's 0-0. Mitty has elected to go for it on 4th and 17. Bohm out of the shotgun, calling the signals. 2 wide receivers left, 1 to the right side. 3 wide receivers set. Bohm alone in the backfield. Now they fake it to Mazzaros in a big hole up the middle. Across the 10, across the 5. It is a touchdown for Mitty. They spread the Vikings out and ran a quarterback draw for Kyle Bohm. 24 yards for the touchdown. They did what a lot of colleges like to do and spread the Vikings out that time with 2 wide receivers on each side, empty backfield. Bohm ran it, and the Pally defense was not ready. So Archbishop Mitty takes the lead 6-0 with 5:25 to go in the second quarter. A huge play on 4th and 17. Cameron Vaca now into 10th the extra point. Snap is down, kick is up. And it is good. So with 5:25 to go second quarter, it is Mitty 7, Palo Alto nothing. Welcome back here to Palo Alto, California. Round 1 of the CCS sectional playoffs, and a bit of a surprise so far with 5:25 to go second quarter. It's the 8th-seeded Archbishop Mitty Monarchs 7, and the top-seeded Palo Alto Vikings nothing. Brandon White into kickoff for Mitty. His first kickoff of the game, and it's a low line drive kick fielded by Williams in the end zone, but he'll just take a knee, and Palo Alto will start at their own 20-yard line. So that's a little bit of an upgrade in field position from recent drives, but with 5:25 to go second quarter, I don't imagine they would be trailing in the game. That's what they are faced, 7-0. A team that went undefeated during the regular season, the Palo Alto Vikings, 10-0. Mitty comes in not bad themselves at 6-3-1, but that's only good for 8th seed in these sectional rounds. Pally comes out 1st and 10 at their own 20. 1 wide receiver to each side, I formation in the backfield, and they give it to Drayel, the fullback, a big hole up the middle, across the 30, breaks it down 35, to 40, to midfield, 45, and gets taken down at the 40. Drayel with a big carry, a gain of 40 yards for Dre Hill. Here's the replay. And as Bono took the snap, they just did a fullback dive up the middle to Hill. And he was able to make the first man miss and then had a tons of speed to get down the right sideline for a big gainer. That goes for easily the best offensive play of the night for Palo Alto. They've turned the ball over once, not had many yards of offense to speak of, but right there, they had more yards on that one play than they did the entire night prior to that. That was a 40-yard gain for Dre Hill. First and 10 at the Mitty 40. Split backs in the backfield this time. And they give it a flat tackle, a big burst of speed, and down to the 34 goes Will Glazier. A backup fullback. Glazier gets the carry that time and gets down to the 34, gain of 6. Here's the replay. Bono again ran that counter, this time to Glazier, not Hill. We saw that a couple of times in the first quarter run to Hill. That time Will Glazier got the carry, and he did nice work to get down to the 34. That's a gain of 6. It's 2nd and 4. Now over center goes Bono. We have whistles. We have whistles. And we have something going on. Did Mitty burn their last time out? Yes, they did. So Mitty just used their last timeout. They are out for timeouts for this first half. 4.5 minutes to go, second quarter. It's Mitty 7 and Palo Alto nothing. Welcome back here to Palo Alto. 4.5 minutes to go, second quarter. It's Mitty leading Pally 7-0. Over center goes Christoph Bono, 1st and 10 from the Mitty 40. He sends Maurice Williams in motion. And they give it to Dre Hill, trying left side. Breaks one man miss, flag down, and he gets driven out of bounds back at the 44. Or rather, right at the 34. No gain on the play on that 2nd and 4 play. But indication is it's holding. So it'll either be 3rd and 4 or 2nd and 14. Let's see what Mitty decides to do. Here's the replay. They sent Maurice Williams that time in motion, gave it to Dre Hill off the left side. Made one man miss, but part of the reason he did that was because Pally was holding somebody up front.
That's a 10-yard penalty.
And Mitty has elected to accept that penalty and moves it back to the 44 Mitty. It will bring up 2nd and 14 for Palo Alto. Palo Alto trailing by 7 here as the rain continues to fall. It's going to be hard for either team to come back in this game because of the significant amounts of rain. So it's going to be key that Pally find a way to get back into the game somehow. 2nd and 14, back to pass. Bono under pressure, runs with it across the 40 and gets hit hard right at the 40-yard line. A gain of 4 will bring up 3rd and 10. And a 4-yard run that time from Christoph Bono. That time Bono's protection immediately failed him that time right from the get-go, so he decided to tuck and run and get what he could. That's a gain of 4. So it's another 3rd down for Pally. Palo Alto is 0 for 3 on 3rd down so far today. 3rd down has not been a friend of Palo Alto Vikings so far today. Trailing here by 7. 3rd and 10 at the 40 for Mitty. Split backs in the backfield. Bono back to pass. As time, steps up, throws deep, and while other thrown and intercepted by Greg Ruiz, comes back and gets tackled and driven out of bounds at the 37 of Palo Alto. That is still a good game. Here's the replay, and as I mentioned from the outset of this telecast, ball handling would be at a premium in this game, and that was not one of the better passes that Bono will throw during his career playing football. It was a low floater. Some of that has to do with the rain, but it was badly underthrown and away from his intended target. And it was an easy interception for Greg Ruiz. One of the easier interceptions he'll ever get playing football. 1st and 10 at their own 35 now for Mitty. Up by 7. Bohm over center. And they give it to Mazzaros on the fly sweep. Mazzaros coming right. And he gets knocked out of bounds at the 35. No gain on the play. as we approach 3 minutes to go in the first half. And it will bring up second and 10. That time Bohm gave it to Mazzaros coming right. And Mazzaros just found no room whatsoever as Tim Biondic over there was trying to block for him. But he was not very successful on that play. Timeout now for Pally. They're trying to fire up their defense. They are left with 2 for the half. 7-0. Archbishop Mitty with the lead, 3:02 to go in the second quarter. Back here in Palo Alto, 3:02 to go second quarter. It is the Monarchs leading the Vikings by 7-0. Mitty has the ball following the timeout. 2nd and 8 at their own 37. Bohm back to pass. Halftime. Rolls right. Full run across the 40. And it's close to the first down. Big run out over there by Will Glazier. And it will be out to the 44-yard line, gain of 7. He's a yard short of the first down. That time Bohm, a 3-step drop. His first read wasn't there. And so didn't wait around for any of his other reads. Just tucked it and ran with the football. Got a nice gain of 7. So now it goes from potentially 3rd and long to 3rd and very short, just 3rd and a yard. Although Mitty has not converted a 3rd down yet tonight. They are 0 for 4 on 3rd downs. 3rd and 1 this time from their own 44. Bohm over center, 3 backs, all lined up next to each other in the backfield. And inside handoff to the fullback up the middle. He has the first down. Plowing his way out to the 46. That time was Rocky Mazzaros.
That handoff to Joe DeCheco. He crosses the 45.
And DeCheco with the carry that time, actually. Gain of 2. And on the replay, trying off left guard that time was DeCheco, the fullback. Just enough for the first down. And that is the first 3rd down conversion tonight for either team, in fact. Pally's 0 for 4. Now Mitty is 1 for 5 on 3rd downs. Just a 2-yard gain, but that was good enough for a first down. And now Mitty goes out 1st and 10 at their own 46. Over center is Bohm. Trips left, 1 wide receiver right. Back to pass is Bohm under pressure. Hole run it again, coming right. Breaks 1 tackle, breaks another, and gets into Palo Alto territory at the 48. That is a gain of 6. Nice run that time from Kyle Bohm. And it will bring up 2nd and 4. Here's the replay. That time Bohm, another 3-step drop. That's what they've been exclusively doing with Bohm in at quarterback. Just 3-step drops, tucked it and ran with it and got picked on 6. Good decision that time. Difference in this game so far has been decision making. Bono has turned the ball over 3 times. And only 1 turnover, or no turnovers actually for Bohm. And this time the inside handoff is a fumble. They tried to give it to DeCheco. It's a fumble recovered by Pally. Palo Alto with the fumble recovery as the rain continues to fall and now harder here in Palo Alto. First turnover of the game for Mitty. And on the replay, we see there's just not a good exchange that time from Bohm to DeCheco, his fullback. And on 2nd and 4, they turn it over. They turn the ball over, and it's Pally with the beneficiaries of their first turnover of the game. First turnover of the game enforced there by Palo Alto. This time they give it on the end around of Williams. On first down, breaks 1 tackle, breaks another, and gets into Mitty territory down to the 43. That is a gain of 10 and a first down. So very good run that time by Maurice Williams. Let's see here on the replay. That time they Palo Alto set B.J. Boyd in motion. And they gave it on the end around to Maurice Williams. A little misdirection, not what Mitty expected. And he picks up 10. Officially 9, actually. 2nd and 1 is what they're calling. Very close to the first down, though. And Bono fumbled the ball, picks it up. I'm not sure who picked that up. It was Dre Hill, actually, who picked it up. But blunder, and it goes for no gain. It will now be 3rd and 1. Timeout called by Palo Alto. So 57.9 seconds to go. Palo Alto trying to tie up the game before halftime. It is 7-0 in favor of Mitty. Welcome back here to Palo Alto. Following the timeout, a big 3rd and 1 here for Pally. Down by 7. A play from Boulay coming right for Bono. At the first down. Breaks it down 30. He may go 25-20. Gain 10. The crowd erupts here, and Palo Alto, California, they are an extra point away from tying it up. First third down conversion of the game for Pally, the big one. That time, as we see here on the replay, Bono keeps on the carry, and he went all the way. He only had one man to beat. It was Greg Ruiz, and he dove into the end zone for a touchdown. They are an extra point away from tying the game up with 46.2 seconds to go here in round one of the CCS playoffs. And Bono to kick it, but it's a muffed snap. Glazier was holding. Will Glazier was the holder, and he muffed the snap, so the PAT's no good. And that could be big later on in this game. Glazier received the snap. It was a good snap. He just muffed it, took his eyes off the ball, and it went right through his hand. So, with 46.2 seconds to go, second quarter, Vikings still trail by one at 7-6. Welcome back here to Palo Alto, California. Pally got a huge touchdown right here before halftime with 46.2 seconds to go, but they muffed the extra point. So that could be big coming down the stretch if they need to go for two to tie to the game or something like that. They trail 7-6. Here's Bono in the kickoff from the 40. A high end-over-end kick, fielded at the 3. Coming up the right side is Beyondek, and he gets hit hard and brought down at the 15-yard line. That was a great kickoff coverage that time from Palo Alto.
Brings it out near the 15-yard line.
So with 40.5 seconds to go, that was a 12-yard return.
With 41 seconds
As that
left
was
in the
actually
first
Jake
half.
Westerman with the carry, and he did not get all the blocks he needed to get a decent gain out of it and make a good field position. Only a 12-yard return. And with only 40.5 seconds to go, up by one, I don't think Mitty will try anything crazy here before halftime, deep in their own territory, because the last thing they want to do is have a turnover and be trailing before half. 40.5 seconds to go, so there's still enough time, although burning those 3 timeouts, Mitty's really hurt themselves, and indeed they will just take a knee. They might need to take one more before half to ensure that they go into the locker room up one.
Kyle Dam on the kneel down.
As I figured, they are just going to take a knee and try to go into the halftime up by one. So Bohm over center once more. The difference in this first half, Pally's turned the ball over 3 times, Mitty only once.
And that'll be the end of the first half of play.
7 points off of 3
3
Palo Alto turnovers for Mitty. 6 points off of 1 Mitty turnover for Palo Alto. Both teams' touchdowns came off of turnovers in the first half, and we have reached halftime in round one of the CCS playoffs here. It is Palo Alto trailing Archbishop Mitty 7-6.
November 27th, the day after Thanksgiving.
My parents are really slowing down. I feel bad I can't always be there for them.
How do I choose between caring for my mother and caring for my own family?
I've been looking into the options, but Dad doesn't want to leave his home. What do I do?
Struggling to care for an aging parent? You're not alone. Learn how Home Instead Senior Care can provide the personalized in-home care your loved one needs. Home Instead. To us, it's personal.
Time now for our halftime highlights from the first half. Here's the scoring got started on this 4th and 17 play when Kyle Bohm, the quarterback from Mitty, took the snap and ran 24 yards for a touchdown. That was shortly answered by Christoph Bono, quarterback from Pally, running 40 yards on 3rd and 1 right towards the end of the second quarter, and dove in right there from Brandon Ruiz, made it 7-6, but a muff snap on the PAT is what makes Pally down at the half 7-6. Second half is coming up shortly. We'll be back after this break.
For want of a block, the structure was lost. For want of a structure, the numbers were lost. For want of the numbers, the students were lost. And all for the want of the building blocks. Don't let this happen to us. Support the building blocks of math education. Shop local, shop Mountain View to support math in our schools. Part of every dollar you spend at sponsoring stores goes to the Mountain View Math Acceleration Project.
Welcome back here to Palo Alto, California. The top-seeded Palo Alto Vikings hosting this first round of the CCS playoffs, but trailing at the half to the 8th-seed Archbishop Mitty Monarchs, 7-6. 24 minutes left to see who moves on to round 2 and who will go home until next year. Palo Alto will receive to begin this second half, trailing by a point. Let's see if the touchdown right before intermission will give them momentum coming here into the third quarter. Mitty has to be thrilled with the position they're in at halftime. If you told their head coach you would be leading 7-6 at halftime, they would gladly take it in the second. But now let's see how the second half unfolds as Brandon White has the ball teed up for Mitty. And his right foot is into the ball. This second half is underway. It comes down to Devontae Adams at the 2. He brings it up to the 15. Cut left. Makes one man miss at the 20. He brings it up. Flag is down. And he gets run out of bounds at the 29. However, there's a flag down. And on special teams especially, whenever there's a flag down, it almost always goes against the return team. So this should be coming back. In fact, I did think I saw a block in the back. In fact, actually, they're calling holding on the play, but here's the replay of that. See if we can pick up the hole. It came down to Adams at the 2, right where I do not see a holding there. It looked to me like the one of the special teamers for Mitty just fell down, but bad luck for Pally, and they will be backed up deep in their own territory because of it. Let's see what kind of offensive adjustments they made at halftime. Christoph Bono over center. 1st and 10 at their own 13-yard line. Bono will give it coming right on the misdirection to Boyd. He's trying to squeeze through the hole, but cannot. It's brought down in the backfield back to the 11. A loss of 2 will bring up 2nd and 12 for Palo Alto.
Ball carrier number 9, B.J. Boyd.
B.J. Boyd that time got the misdirection play coming right. And he was swarmed in the backfield by a group of Mitty defenders. So it's still 2nd and 12 now for Pally. They send Devontae Adams now wide left as the lone wide receiver out left. Maurice Williams is out wide right. Bono over center. They show blitz, does Mitty. Now they back off and back to passes Bono. Outside throws left flat and it's incomplete. Overthrew his intended target, Devontae Adams. And he was rather open. It was just a misfire that time from Bono. And you're on the replay. Another 3-step drop from Bono. We've seen a lot of those from both quarterbacks tonight. And the throw sailed over the head of Adams. And Adams is one of the more athletic people on this Pally football team, and he even couldn't reach that. It's too tall for him. So now it brings up a very difficult situation for Pally. They went just 1 for 5 on 3rd downs in the first half. It's 3rd and 12. Ball at their own 11. Coming to the line is Christoph Bono. Dre Hill is the lone running back this time. And 2 wide receivers go out wide right, 1 to the left. And back to pass is Bono rolling right, a design roll. It's thrown, it's caught right flat, but being brought out at the 20-yard line is with TJ Braff, 3rd wide receiver for Pally with the catch, but he was not enough for a 1st down. Here's Bono with a design roll to the right. Braff was sitting out there in the right flat with the catch, but he's brought out of bounds at the 18. So it's only a gain of 7. And on 4th and 5, Bono is back into punt for Pally. They did a lot of this in the first half, along with turning the ball over. This time the snap is good. Bono almost had it blocked, but gets off a nice punt. Fielded by Mazzaros, he dropped it, but he recovered it. Rocky Mazzaros muffed that punt, but he was fortunate enough where it didn't go anywhere, and he was able to recover it. Here's the replay for that muff punt. Mazzaros had to do all kinds of dancing to receive that punt, and then it went right through his arms, and he recovered it at the 46 of Mitty. So that's a good punt for Bono. That goes as a 36-yard punt, nothing on the return. But again, excellent field position here for Mitty. A touchdown makes it still one possession game, but Palo would need a 2-point conversion in there somewhere, and he fumbled the ball. But I think Bohm, the quarterback, recovered it, and indeed he did. Right at the 46-yard line, no gain on the play. It will bring up 2nd and 10 as 2 minutes are gone by now here in the third quarter. Here's the replay. Bohm initially had the ball, but then because it's been raining the entire game so far, he just went right through his hands. Little butterfinger action that time from Bohm, the quarterback, and he was fortunate enough to recover it. So back-to-back fumbles for Mitty, but yet they retain the ball. This time trips out right, one to the left. 2nd and 10 at their own 46. He did it again. He fumbled it this time, and again, Bohm recovers it. That's 3 straight fumbles for Mitty, and this possession is not looking. This will not go in the Hall of Fame of drives, that's for sure. Here's the replay, and Bohm again. That time he backed out too soon. He read blitz, and indeed Palo was coming with. They were essentially bringing the house, leaving their cornerbacks one-on-one with their receivers. And Bohm felt that and moved too quickly out from under center. So it's a loss of 1 this time. It's 3rd and 11. Mitty also was just 1 for 5 on 3rd downs in that first half. And they give it to Mazzaros, who's hit at the line of scrimmage and goes down. No gain for Rocky Mazzaros. And on 4th and 11, this will force Mitty to punt, and another 3 and out for the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs. As we approach 8.5 to go, third quarter. 7-6. The Monarchs with the lead, but they have it 4th and 11 at their own 45. Ruiz trying to do what he did so well in the first half, and that is pin Palo Alto deep in their own territory. Twice, Ruiz punted it and pinned Pali inside their own 5-yard line. This time, Ruiz has a long snap count, now gets it, and his left-footed kick is high and overhead angle to the right. It will bounce, and it will go out of bounds. Another great punt. It is down at the 12. So that goes as a 43-yard punt. Nothing on the return. 8:01 to go in the third quarter. It is the Monarchs 7 and Palo Alto 6. Yeah. We'd like to remind you now that this game is being brought to you by KMVT's All Sports presenting sponsor, Home Instead. Learn how Home Instead Senior Care can provide the personalized in-home care your loved one needs. Home Instead, to them, it's personal. And we would also like to thank Tenant Free for all your smart choice for landlords. It is Tenant Free. Back here, 8:01 to go in the third quarter, and the first play from scrimmage of this drive. Bono gives it to Dre Hill off of right side. Gets no gain, only out to the 14-yard line, and it will bring up 2nd and 10. So Pali trails here by 1, under 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Mitty got the scoring started off an interception thrown by Chris Albano, 1 of 2 he threw in the first half. And then on 4th and 17, a 24-yard touchdown run from Kyle Bohm. Conversely for Pali, off a fumble they recovered from Mitty. On 3rd and 1, Bono, the quarterback, had a 40-yard touchdown run, but they missed the PAT. Now Bono back to back, throws on a quick out, stop right to Adams. Adams has it, breaks him, tackle, up to the 30, up to the 40, and gets run out of bounds right near the 40-yard line. Devontae Adams with the catch that time, and that's been Bono's favorite target of the game so far. Here's the replay. Bono with a quick 3-step drop, threw it. It was kind of a button route that time from Devontae Adams, where he just stopped on the little out, 5-yard route, and he did the rest after he caught the ball. Made a couple-man miss and ran out of bounds at the 38. That is good for a 24-yard gain. Let's see if that sparks this Palo Alto offense. 1st and 10, their own 37. And toss coming left to Hill. Hill has the corner, looking, stiff arms a man, and gets swung out of bounds roughly at the 40-yard line. Let's see where they do, where they mark the ball. Here's the replay. Now, another one of those toss plays coming left to Hill. And Hill tried to get the corner across the 40 and just was swung out of bounds at the 44-yard line. That's officially where they marked the ball. Gain of 6. 2nd and 4 at the 44 for the Vikings. Split backs in the backfield. One wide receiver split out wide right. And they give it to Hill, and he's hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. He is lucky if he got to the line of scrimmage that time, and he might have. They're giving him a very generous spot. And in fact, they'll give him no gain. So right at the 44-yard line, he'll bring up 3rd and 4. Here's Bono giving the ball off to Hill, and that time excellent penetration from the D-line of the Monarchs, getting penetration deep enough where they could hit Hill for no gain. We are all approaching the halfway mark in this 3rd quarter. It is the Monarchs 7 and Palo Alto 6. 3rd and we'll call it 3 from their own 45-yard line. Palo Alto just 1 for 6 on 3rd down. Toss to Hill. He's hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. What a play by the Monarchs. A group of Mitty players hit him in the back. Leading the charge was number 9, J.D. Correa, making the stop. And that will go for a loss to Dre Hill. Dre Hill with the toss that time, and a loss on the play of about 3. Back to the 42-yard line. And so just 1 for 7 on 3rd downs for Pally tonight so far. And it's 4th and 6. Bono in to punt once again. So Pally, between their 3 turnovers and 1 for 7, they run a fake. Adams with it, trying to get the 1st down. Breaks the tackle. He's going to be close, but I don't think he got it. Devontae Adams on the fake punt took the direct snap. And here going to mark him short, a good 2 yards short of the 1st down. And Mitty will take over on downs. Here's the replay. And I did not expect that whatsoever. They ran a fake to Adams. And now, because he only gained 4 yards on the play, it will be Mitty ball with excellent field position. And even a field goal makes it where Palo Alto would need to score a touchdown to take the lead. So that was a little curious call from Pally, but that will leave Mitty 1st and 10 at the 46 of Palo Alto. And they give it on the end around to DeSica, or rather Mazzaros, and he's hit in the backfield for a loss. Back to the 48-yard line. That's a loss of 2. Actually, they gave him a much worse spot than I initially thought, back to the 49. And no, officially midfield. Now they're moving the ball all over the place, but I think they're going to drop it right at the 50. Loss of 4, it's going to bring up 2nd and 14 for Mitty. On that play, there was a flag sweep that time to Rocky Mazzaros, but he was hit immediately. No chance of that play working. And now play action coming left for Boom. Breaks one tackle, breaks another. He is coming right. No flags down, but he's being pursued and dropped. He does well just to get back to the 46 of Pally. That's a gain of 4. It'll bring up 3rd and 10 on this play. Boom right from the get-go on that read option. Decided to keep it, probably the wrong decision, but did well to make a couple men miss. Comes right and makes another man miss. That was Maurice Williams right at midfield that he juked out of his shoes, and because of that, picked up 4. And gets it back to the original line of scrimmage, but still very difficult for Mitty, who's 1 for 6 on 3rd downs now. So it's 3rd and 10 for the Monarchs at the Palo Alto 46. Tim Biondic is split out wide right, three receivers out wide left. Bohm out of the shotgun. Back to pass. Has time. Throws left flat. It is caught, but going down immediately is Cale McClanahan with the catch. In the left flat, but it goes for a loss of 2. And actually, that was Andrew Barner with the catch, but nonetheless, it was a gain of 2 in the left flat. And not much doing over there. That was not one of the plays to remember if you're Mitty. And that will force another punt from Greg Ruiz. This has been a punting fan fest tonight. If you like punts, this is the game for you. Ruiz into punt, trying to pin him inside the 20, which he has done on 3 consecutive punts. 4th and 13. There's Ruiz's punt, just gets it off. This is a low line drive, fielded by Adams, nearly fumbled it. Picks it up again and runs it out across the 20-yard line to the 22. That's a 9-yard return on a punt of 36 yards from Ruiz. So again, he does punt it inside the 20, but in that time, Devontae Adams was able to pick it up and run it out to the 22. Pally can take the lead with a field goal. They can take a bigger lead with the touchdown. And a reminder now that we like to express our thanks to Earl Hansen, head coach of the champion Palo Alto Vikings, for making this broadcast possible. He does more for Palo Alto sports than can ever be expressed. Thank you, Coach. 1st and 10 at their own 23. Over center is Bono, back to pass, throws through the hands of his intended target over there. And incomplete. A little short slant. That was incomplete, and it was intended for Maurice Williams, actually. They had 2 receivers in the same area, and that's never good for an offense. Here's the replay. Bono's pass, a little too much mustard on that pass, intended for Maurice Williams. Actually, never even hit Williams. It went by so quickly, it hit the defender that was in charge of making sure Williams didn't make that catch. It was off the hands of the defender and incomplete. So in the end, it actually is a blessing in disguise that that pass was thrown so hard from Bono, because it probably would have been an interception if it was thrown a little softer. Here's 2nd and 10. Bono over center. Split backs in the backfield. Back to pass. Bono, 7-step drop. Setting up the screen to Hale with blockers in front of him. Makes a man miss. Makes another man miss. Gets over near the left sideline, the near sideline, and he gets taken down at the 27-yard line. A gain of 4 will bring up 3rd and 6. Here's the replay now for Christoph Bono, a 7-step drop, a bigger drop this time because he was trying to set up the screenplay. And initially, Dre Hill had blockers in front of him, but just not enough of them. Good pursuit to the ball that time from Mitty. Greg Ruiz leading the charge. And it's going to bring up 3rd and 6. And Pally has just been awful, horrendous on 3rd downs today, and now we still have for an injured player. That's what all the stoppage is about. I cannot see the player because it's on the near sideline. The coaches are blocking him, but he appears to be up and being tended to. So there's an injury timeout on the field. With 3:05 to go 3rd quarter, it's the Monarchs 7 and Palo Alto 6. They've rolled the clock now, 2:55 and counting to go into the 3rd quarter. Pally facing a 3rd and 7 from their own 27 on 3rd down. Here's Bono faking the handoff, gets hit. He fumbled the ball on the toss. I believe Palo Alto recovered it, although Mitty doesn't think so. They think they've recovered it. Let's see. There's a scrum going on at the bottom of that pile. It is Palo Alto football. They are lucky to get it back, but that was a play that didn't work from the get-go. Bono bobbled the snap and never recovered. His toss was behind the intended target because once he bobbled that snap right there off the fake handoff to Dre Hill, the toss went behind Maurice Williams, the man he was trying to pitch to, and it will bring up 4th and 20. A loss of 13 on that play. Bono into punt once again for Pally. Rocky Mazzaro is back to receive this punt once again. 7-6 Monarchs still lead. By the way, that injury was to Eddie Meschenu for the Monarchs, as this is not a very good punt from Bono, but he gets a very friendly roll. He will roll dead at the 49 of Pali. So that goes as a 39-yard punt, nothing on the return. As I was saying, Eddie Mashenu was the injured man for the Monarchs, but he did get up and will jog off under his own power, so he doesn't seem to be seriously injured. And we'd like to express our thanks to Steve and Tina Bono and all the hardworking and dedicated parents at the Pali Sports Boosters for their tireless support of all of the Viking sports ventures. Christoph Bono, the starting quarterback for Pali, is in fact the son of former NFL quarterback Steve Bono. And right now the Monarchs are on offense, though, with Kyle Bohm. 1st and 10 at the 48 of Pali. Pali nearly jumped off sides, and indeed they did. That would have been a free play for Monarchs if they didn't false start themselves. But because they false started, Pali is going to be called for offsides immediately. It might have been a break for Pali. It could have been a break that the Monarchs did go off false start because the refs were going to let them extend the play, but because that offsides induced a false start penalty on the Monarchs, they had to blow it dead on Pali. So that's a 5-yard penalty. It's going to be 1st and 5 at the 43 of the Vikings. Bohm over center. He's already agreed to go and play football for Jeff Tedford at Cal. He keeps it here across the 35, across the 30, and down to the 29 of Palo Alto. That's a gain of 13 for Kyle Bohm. He, that time, ran the read option, a play that the Naval Academy loves to run at the collegiate level. That's their specialty. Line up 3 backs in the backfield, and the quarterback fakes the handoff to the ball back. Also has an option on the outside, or he can keep it himself. That's why it's called the triple option. That time, Bohm, the quarterback, made the right decision and elected to keep it. So 1st and 10 at the Pali 29 rather, and they give it to Mazzaros coming right, but good pursuit from the Vikings that time. Still good yardage from Rocky Mazzaros, getting down to the 24, a gain of 5. Here's the replay now from that previous play. Bohm again trying the counter this time with Rocky Mazzaros off right end. Good blocking by Ruiz. The wide receiver split out wide to the right side that time. And because of that, Mazzaros picked up good yardage on 1st down. Gain of 5. It's going to bring up 2nd and 5 for the Monarchs, trying to extend their 1-point advantage so far. And they give it to Mazzaros again, trying the left side. He's hit hard right at the 22-yard line. Just a gain of 2 for Mazzaros. It's going to bring up a 3rd down, and we have an injured man. Slow to get up over there is one of the Pali defensemen, and he is limping to the sideline. The injured man was Chris Martinez, starting defensive tackle for Pali, and he was very slow to get up and jogged off to the sideline. That will be the final play of the 3rd quarter, in fact. This is as good as Mitty could have hoped for entering this game. After 3 quarters here in round 1 of the CCS playoffs, it's Palo Alto trailing the Mitty Monarchs 7-6. We are ready to start the 4th quarter here from Palo Alto, California, on the campus of the Palo Alto Vikings. It is the Mitty Monarchs pulling off the upset so far through 3 quarters. They lead the Vikings 7-6. Mitty comes in as the 8th seed in the CCS section. Pali the number 1 seed. Pali did not lose a game during the regular season, trying to avoid the upset here in round 1 of the CCS playoffs. However, Mitty has the ball up 1 on 3rd and 2. They keep it with Bohm, trying to get the 1st down, and he might have got it. It will all depend on the spot. Bohm kept it on that triple option again, the play that was so successful earlier in the 3rd quarter. That time it was well defensed by the Vikings, and it will be officials' timeout as they will measure for the 1st down. As I said before, it will all depend on that spot. From that spot, though, it appears he will have enough for the 1st down. But it is definitely close enough to measure. So now they have to get the crew over from the far side of the field to come over and measure. As the rain continues to fall here in Palo Alto, rain has significantly picked up since halftime. And here's the measurement. It is so close. It is maybe an inch, if that. And it's going to be 4th and an inch. So I fully expect the Monarchs to be going. You're the underdog if you're Mitty. The 8 seed, no one gave you a chance coming in. You are up 1 with the ball. From here, it'd be a long field goal, a 45-yard field goal if they decide to kick it. I fully expect them to go for it. Crowd comes to their feet. 4th and about an inch from the Palo Alto 18. Mitty is 1 for 1 on 4th down so far. Boom on the keeper. He gets lower. He gets low. And I don't know if he got it. Of course, both teams pointing in directions of one another, thinking that they stopped him, or that in the Mitty's case that they picked it up, and it will be a first down. Bohm did not get a lot, but he got just enough for the first down. Here's the replay. Bohm kept it, and with that second effort, he picked it up. Just initially, if he went down immediately after contact, it would have been short of the line to make. But because of that second effort, he got the first down. What a play. 11:20 to go, 4th quarter. So we wind down here in the 4th quarter. Winner to take on either Bellarmine or Oak Grove in round 2 of the CCS playoffs. 1st and 10 at the 18 for Mitty, trying to extend their lead. And they run the triple option again. Bohm to keep, and he gets driven backwards and dropped at the 17-yard line, a gain of a yard. It will bring up 2nd and 9. Here's the replay of that as Bohm faked the handoff that time to DeSica and kept it off left end and gets dropped for the loss. Or actually, officially they gave him a gain of a yard. Mitty, if you were going to ask them what they'd like to do here, it would be take as much time off the clock as possible and score a touchdown. Bohm over center now. And a quick snap, back to pass, rolling right is Bohm. Under pressure, he will run, slip, dive. And he does not have the first down, only a gain of 2 down to the 15. Only a gain of 2 for Bohm. Here's the replay. He wanted to pass off that triple option again as the play action fake was a designed roll to the right. Bohm quickly ticked it and run. Felt he didn't have the time to get the ball out of his hands that time. And so he dives for only a gain of 2. Now it's another 3rd down for the Monarchs. Another 3rd down for the Monarchs. Tim Biondic comes back onto the field for the Monarchs. Brandon White, along with Rocky Mazzaro, split out wide left. 3rd and 7. And they give it up the gut to DeSica. He's nowhere close to the first down. Just down to the 14-yard line, gain of a yard. Now what will the Monarchs do? From here, it would be a 31-yard field goal. It is 4th and 6. Here's the replay. Now, as that was only a gain of a yard, they this time gave it to DeSica, did Bohm, and only picked up a yard. It looks like they're sending out the field goal unit. It will be the field goal unit. No, now they fake the field goal. No, now they're running up to the line to kick the field goal. It will be Cameron Vaca and to attempt this 31-yard field goal. High snap, kick it down, kick is up, and it is good. He just snuck it above the crossbar. And so the Monarchs extend their lead with 8:46 to go, 4th quarter. The Monarchs can feel it now. It's the Monarchs 10 and Palo Alto 6. Welcome back here to Palo Alto 10-6. The Monarchs lead the Vikings with 8:46 to go, 4th quarter. Here's the replay. That field goal that was made a moment ago was very close. And he just did sneak it under the crossbar. Here's Maurice Williams with a big return. Breaks a tackle, breaks another, and gets all the way out to the 44-yard line. That's a 42-yard return for Maurice Williams. And with the Vikings trailing by 4, they need a touchdown now to go ahead. Here's the replay of that big kickoff return. Williams hit the wedge off the right side with full steam ahead and picked up a huge amount of yards. 42-yard return. It's 1st and 10 at their own 44. Williams split out wide left. Adams split out wide right. It's back to passes. Bono goes deep down the right sideline. Has a man out there. It's intercepted by J.D. Correa at the 20 of Palo Alto. Intended for Devontae Adams. Bono throws his 3rd pick of the game. And here's Bono, who was over center that time. Uncharacteristically has turned the ball over 4 times now. This is 3rd pick. Went down for the streak deep down the right sideline to Devontae Adams. But it was intercepted and well defended down there by Correa.
Get the ball! Let's go defense!
Now, with Mitty up 4, they are going to try to play ball control. This Mitty defense has really played well tonight so far. 1st and 10 at their own 20. Over center's Bohm. They give it to Mazzaro's coming right. Has a big hole, and it closes very quickly. Good defense from the Palo Alto defense that time. Gain of 2 out to the 22. Rocky Mazzaros with the carry that time. And it will bring up 2nd and 8. So now the game plan for Mitty. Keep the ball for about 8 minutes, 15 seconds, and you've got yourself a round 1 win in the CCS playoffs. That is much easier said than done, though. They have to contend with not being very good on 3rd down so far tonight and a very good defensive line for Palo Alto, probably the strength of their defense. Bohm over center now, 2nd and 8 from their own 22, and they give it up the middle to the fullback. That time, DeSica with the carry, and he doesn't get much, only out to the 26-yard line, gain of 4, but it does make it 3rd and medium. 3rd and 4 is what is facing Mitty right now. This would be a big 3rd down conversion if they could pick it up. Palo Alto went throughout the regular season undefeated, 10-0 their record. And for Mitty, they came in 6-3-1, but Mitty is the team leading. So 3rd and 4, they will give it to DeSica up the middle. He has the 1st down out to the 31. A big time conversion and a gain of 5 when they needed 4. Here's the replay now as DeSica got the carry. The fullback just straight up the gut. Nothing more than a fullback dive play and good blocking that time from Mitty, and they pick up the 1st down because of it. 7:10 and counting to go in the 4th quarter. 10-6 Mitty with the lead. 1st and 10 at their own 31. Bohm over center. Split backs in the backfield. 1 wide receiver split out wide right. And they give it to Mazzaros coming left this time. And he doesn't get very far, only out to the 33 before he gets gang tackled there. Gain of 2. It will bring up 2nd and 8. The primary ball carriers tonight for Mitty have been Rocky Mazzaros and DeSica. For the most part, Palo Alto has done a very good job on them, but it's not been good enough so far. They desperately need to force a turnover here. Mitty's forced 4 of them. Pally only 1. 5 turnovers combined between these 2 teams tonight. 2nd and 8. They have a busted play, it looks like, as DeSica got the ball eventually, but DeSica also ran into the quarterback, Bohm, that time, and it goes for no gain. Joe DeChico with the carry, and it will bring up 3rd and 8. So another big 3rd down play for Pally, or rather for Mitty. And Pally needs a stop here desperately. They trail by 4. As you recall in the first half, toward the end after they scored their touchdown, they muffed the snap of a point after touchdown, PAT. Therefore, they need a touchdown. Only a touchdown will help them, not a field goal. Here's 3rd and 8. Bone back to pass. Has time. Throws. Lops one up, and it is almost intercepted. Incomplete, intended for Brandon White. White had the coverage. And Gabe Landa had the coverage. Excellent coverage by Landa. Intended for Brandon White. Here's the replay. A 3-step drop from Bohm. He lofted it out there. 1-on-1 coverage. Trusting Brandon White. But White was unable to haul it in. And now on 4th and 8, Pally will get the ball back. 5:33 to go in the game. 10-6, Biddy. Greg Ruiz into punt once again. He's been very effective in this role all game. Greg Ruiz waiting at his own 20-yard line to receive the snap. Still waiting. Ruiz now takes the snap and his left-footed kick. Low line drive kick. Bounces at the 36. Goes out of bounds at the 33. So with this break in the action, we take this time to remind you that our thanks also goes to Becky Sanders and Andy Niehaus of the Palo Alto Media Center for their support, and to Suzanne and Chuck Fury for helping to organize this event. 5:26 to go, 4th quarter now. It's Mitty 10 and Palo Alto 6. With Palo Alto coming to the line of scrimmage now. Palo Alto needs a 4th quarter comeback to extend their season. They are 67 yards away from putting themselves in front. And they give it to Dre Hill off the left side. And he gets out of across the 35. Not a whole lot over there. Gets out to about the 36. Gain of 3 will bring up 2nd and 7. Here's the replay. Over center was Bono before that snap. And it looked almost like a mix-up between Hill and Bono. Fortunately for Pally, they didn't misconnect. They got the ball directly to Hill, and he picks up 3. But it's still 2nd and long now, 2nd and 7 for Pally. One wide receiver to each side, Bono over center. In backfield is Hill. And back to pass, Bono looks, fires, caught Devontae Adams. He breaks a tackle, and it goes down to the 45. Devontae Adams with another reception, and a strike from Christoph Bono. Here's the replay now, and this play worked to perfection for Palo Alto. As Bono took the snap, 3-step drop, threw a frozen rope to Adams right at the 1st down marker, and then he was able to elude one man and pick up a healthy gain into Mitty territory at the 45. That play goes for 19 yards. Bono over center, split backs in the backfield, and 1st and 10. Design roll right for Bono. Looks, fires right flat, caught Maurice Williams. Makes a man miss and dives down to the 41. A gain of 4 for Maurice Williams on the receiving end that time of a Christoph Bono pass. And it will bring up 2nd and 6. Here's the replay. Bono with a 3-step drop, rolling right. And his only option was the outlet man over there, Maurice Williams, and he was able to pick up 4. Bono has turned the ball over 4 times tonight, 3 interceptions and a fumble. But all that can be forgiven if he puts his team in the end zone here. On 2nd and 6, they give it to Hill. Makes a man miss. Trying to get the edge. Makes another man miss. Has a big hole down the sideline, 30, 25, 20, and down to the 19-yard line. That's a gain of 20 yards for Dre Hill. As we see here on the replay, he did very nice work to make one man miss in the backfield, then get upfield and make another man miss, then make a 3rd man miss and a 4th, and get down the left sideline for a big gain of 20. And now Pally is in prime position to take the lead. The crowd erupted after that big play as it's 1st and 10 at the 20. And a toss play coming right. This is B.J. Boyd. Boyd with the carry, and he doesn't get much. A very short game for Boyd. Gets to the 20, and that's it. So officially no gain. It'll bring up 2nd and 10, and there's only 3 minutes and counting to go in the game. Here's the replay. Boyd this time with the carry, and he got dropped for no gain. Excellent pursuit to the football. They are in field goal position right now, field goal range. But of course that doesn't matter because they are down 4, not 3. Bono over center. Split backs in the backfield. And they give it on the end around to Maurice Williams, trying to get his blocks, but not much. He gets tackled, shoe high tackle that time by Williams, down at the 17, a gain of 3. It will bring up 3rd and 7, no doubt 4 down territory for the Vikings. Here's the replay. They faked it to Dre Hill and gave it to Williams around the end. And he was not able to elude the 2nd and 3rd tacklers over there. But it's still, as we have now at the 2-minute mark, 3rd and 7 for Palo Alto at the 17. Over center is Bono, 3-step drop, under pressure, throws, caught, Adams. Adams, will he get the first down? Yes, he will, inside the 10. It's 1st and goal, Vikings. As here's the replay now from that last play. It was a big 3rd down conversion. Down that Palo Alto had been very bad in all game, but come up with the biggest 3rd down conversion of the night. Keeps their season alive for the moment. Devontae Adams with the catch that time. Crowd is erupting. 1st and goal for Palo Alto. But remember, only a touchdown helps them now. 1:50 to go in the 4th quarter, 10-6 Mitty. They wind the clock now. Over center is Bono from the 5-yard line. They give it to Hill trying the left side, and he doesn't get very far. He is gang tackled right at the 5-yard line. No gain. It will bring up 2nd and goal. Bobby Morani made the stop that time for Mitty. Down 4. It doesn't get any better than this. Palo Alto needing a touchdown to extend their season. Even though they have all 3 of their timeouts, if they were to turn the ball over here, it would be very difficult to come back and win this game. 1st, 2nd and goal for Bono. Bono tosses right to B.J. Boyd. He's hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. It's 3rd and goal for Pally. They just used one of their timeouts. They are 2 remaining. Here's the replay. As Christoph Bono took the snap, another toss coming right to Boyd, and this time he was bottled up. He was dropped for a 3-yard loss back to the 8. Now a full timeout has been elected for Vikings. They have 2 timeouts remaining in the half. And we'll stay right here. So 54 seconds to go in the game. 10-6 Mitty with the lead, and we'd like to remind you that this game is being brought to you by KMVT's All Sports presenting sponsor, Home Instead. Learn how Home Instead Senior Care can provide the personalized in-home care your loved one needs. Home Instead, to them, it's personal. And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Tenant Free, the smart choice for landlords, tenant free. Back to action now after following the Viking timeout. 54 seconds to go in the game. 10-6, Mitty with the lead. Vikings have the ball, 3rd and goal at the 8. They need a touchdown to take the lead. A turnover and downs, and Mitty will pull off the huge upset. Both fans are making lots of noise. Both Mitty and Palo Alto fans making lots of noise, but before the action gets started, we have a timeout, and it's called by Mitty. So now each team has 2 timeouts remaining for the half. 54 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. It is Mitty 10 and Palo Alto 6. 54 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. 10-6, Mitty with the lead. 3rd and goal at the 8. Each team has 2 timeouts left in their pockets. Bono over center. 3-step drop, under pressure, back to pass, under pressure, and he goes down! Back at the 20-yard line, a loss of 12. And it's going to be 4th down and 20. Here's the replay. Bono's protection failed in that time. He was immediately pressured in the backfield. He was looking toward Maurice Williams in the end zone, couldn't find him, and then ran and got dropped for a loss. So Palo Alto uses their second timeout, and this will be for the game. 4th down and goal from the 20. Palo Alto needs a touchdown to take the lead. If they do not score on this play, Monarchs would have come in here to Palo Alto and have upset the number 1 seed Palo Alto Vikings, who did not lose a game during the regular season. Let's see, they've got to have their 5-star play call in now. This is where champions become champions, being able to convert a 4th and 20 for the ball game. 4th down and goal at the 20-yard line for Palo Alto with 45.2 seconds to go in the game. 10-6 Mitty with the lead. That missed PAT is looming very large right now. And now the Monarchs use a timeout. 1 timeout remaining for each team. And with 45.2 seconds to go, it is 10-6 Mitty. Welcome back here to Palo Alto. 45 seconds to go. 10-6. Mitty with the lead. 4th quarter. This is for the game. 4th and goal at the 20. Bono back to pass. Halftime. Throws to the end zone. Has a man. It is caught for a touchdown to Devontae Adams. And Palo Alto takes the lead. 12-10. The crowd is going crazy! I do not believe it! Wow! That's all I have to say. KMVT. Here is the instant replay now. Bono back to pass, and it was a strike. Just a jump ball. J.D. Correa had the coverage, and it was caught. Wow, holy cow. That was a great throw and an even better catch by Devontae Adams. Game is not over, though. Still 35 seconds to go. Bono in to attempt a point after touchdown. Step down, kick is up. It is good. So now Mitty has 1 timeout left and 35 seconds to work with. They need a field goal to tie and a touchdown to win. Here's the replay once more for the touchdown. Let's see it. It was 4th and goal from the 20, so essentially 4th and 20 on that play. And they had the perfect play call on. Only the 2nd touchdown of the game for Pally, but it comes at the most critical time. Back to pass was Bono, just lofted it up there. It was a 50-50 ball, but they did have their height advantage with Devontae Adams over there working on J.D. Correa, and that paid off for Pally. 35 seconds away from advancing to the CCS second round. Crowd erupts. 13-10 Palo Alto. In to kickoff is Christoph Bono. Waiting back deep is Ruggie Mazzaro. Sends a squib kick. Squib kick. They need a fall on it. It's still loose, but they finally do. DeSica fell on the ball. So it's going to be down by Joe DeSica right at the 25-yard line. They need about probably 50 yards to get into field goal range and only have 31.3 seconds to do it. Trailing by 3, 4th quarter. Mitty has played so well today. They still have a timeout remaining. They have played so well today. This would be just Heartbreak City if they were to come up on the losers after this game. Boom, over center, working from the shotgun. 2 wide receivers left, 3 to the right side. Back to pass is Bo. Throwing down the middle, and it will be almost intercepted, incomplete. Wow, if that was intercepted, that would have been the ball game. That was Bill Gray on the coverage, and Gray nearly intercepted it. Boom, a 3-step drop that time out of the shotgun, and he basically threw it right to Gray, the defensive back for Palo Alto. So now we'll bring up 2nd and 10 from the 25. 26.9 seconds to go. 2nd and 10 to go. Bohm over out of the shotgun this time. 3 wide receivers right, 2 to the left side. Bohm back to pass. Halftime. Lost one deep down the left sideline as a man, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by Bill Landa, and the Vikings are headed to round 2 of the CCS playoffs. Landa with the interception, and Palo Alto will face either Bellarmine or Oak Grove in round 2. This is going to be Heartbreak City for the Palo Alto Vikings. Although they did get back-to-back unsportsmanlike conduct penalties against themselves, so those are 30 yards worth of field position, and will be moved back all the way to the 30-yard line after the 15-yard penalty, I believe. No, there have been 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, so another 15 yards will be marked off, essentially 30 yards in penalties over there. But right now, Pally doesn't care. They need 1 knee, and this ball game will be over. Over center is Bono. The victory dance, as they like to say in football. There's the knee. The ball game is over. One more replay with the touchdown now. Pally will advance, and it's all because of this play. 4th and goal. Back to pass was Bono. 3-step drop. He just lobbed it into the end zone. Devontae Adams will make that catch, and it was a 4th and goal, 20-yard touchdown pass from Bono to Devontae Adams. This was an instant classic in round 1 of the CCS playoffs. So now our producer and director for this game has been Bobby Chastain. Our replay operator, Tom Clark. Our cameras, Lisa Tesler, Tim Erskine, Ted Melke, and Wes Rappaport. As well, special thanks to the Palo Alto Athletic Department, Chuck Fury, and CCS for making this broadcast possible, along with Becky Sanders, Palo Alto Media Center, and Steve Filios. That's your final today here in round 1 of the CCS playoffs. It is Palo Alto Vikings moving on, defeating the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs 13-10.